Colonial Sports Center. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another great edition of Colonial Sports Center. My name is Casey Irwine, joined by Brett McGulick. Brett, it's going to be a great show tonight. We got a lot of stuff on our plates.
Absolutely. You know, Casey, the weather's changed when we're getting into November, past Halloween, getting closer into the Christmas season. So
changes are Thanksgiving, Brett.
We do have Thanksgiving.
Come on.
All right.
That's
a later debate. We got a bunch of Colonial Sports to look at tonight. Things are changing, but we're not. It's Colonial Sports time.
Of course, Brett. And of course, we're going to start off with a team who's right in the midst of playoffs. That is the men's soccer team. They played a couple games in the playoff. First, we're going to go look at the quarterfinals matchup. They played 4th seed Milwaukee, and they won that game 2-1 in the Horizon League quarterfinals in Milwaukee. A great game with the 4 and 5 seed here. These teams drew a few weeks ago, but this one, the Colonials, pull out with a win. Anasa drawn his first career brace. In this one, Josh Lane saved a penalty in the 55th minute, Brett. Yeah. And then Anasa Drawn scored the 88th minute winner from the spot himself.
That first ace could not have come at a better time for this team. This team has been on it all season. The past 2 years this team has been on it, and this team is definitely one to look forward to here.
Yeah, Brett. Well, you could have looked forward to them a little earlier today, actually, because they played their semifinal game. This win brought them over to play the number 1 seeded Cleveland State, a team that's been so good in the Horizon League all season. The Colonials, who were last year's champs, look to take down the current top dog in the Horizon League. But, Brett, they just wouldn't be able to do it. Despite drawing with them last month, they lose today 2-0. So let's look at the goals from this game and kind of talk about this season for the Colonials that ends in a bit of disappointment based on last season's standards. You can see this one went into the second half 0-0, and this one's just a pullback, and it's just put away. Usman Ramis and Paulo Roditi get it done right there for Cleveland State, which would end up being the winner, and just Overcam just couldn't close them down.
Yeah, we've seen this a lot. It's been like copy-paste a lot this season. These low-scoring matchups, we've seen this team have so many draws. It's hard. These low-scoring matchups have been the killer for this team this year.
Yeah, Colonials finished the season 6-4-7, 5 of those draws being in conference play. They actually end up with only one less loss than this Cleveland State team, and Usman Ramis, with a great run down the line, just fires it past Josh Lane, who in his mind, he thinks he might have been able to do better, but Afa Wubo just couldn't close down Ramis. And again, the Colonials defense has been solid all season, but the offense that could only hit a spark a few times, only scored more than 3 goals, or 3 or more goals once, or 3 times, just couldn't get it done again today, and the Colonial season ends like this.
Yeah, unfortunately, this team, like I've been saying a lot, has had a lot of success recently, and this whole season they've been very successful, and there was a lot going into this game. Unfortunately, the low-scoring matchups have been killer for this team. They couldn't get it done this time.
We'll see if they can get it done next season, of course.
Well, moving on over from the pitch to the gridiron, the RMU football team took on Wagner this past Saturday afternoon, coming home for the first time since that homecoming weekend. Let's see if this team could get this one done here. Let's head over to the first quarter. Jax Stevens throws one to Malik Reed for 17 yards to get the Wagner Seahawks into the red zone. The Colonials in trouble here to start this game.
And Brett, that might be the only passing highlight you see the whole day. Wagner only had 43 passing yards the whole day.
Yeah, and like that, as it sees here, this is a rushing touchdown by the quarterback, Jack Stevens. Funny enough, he actually had 92 rushing yards this game. Like you said earlier, those numbers outweighing each other. Most rushing yards of the season.
I mean, Wagner looked right in the face of the Colonials and said, "We do not respect your run defense," and they ended up doing it all day today, just running it down their throats.
Third down here from RMU on their own 39. Zach Tanner steps back to pass, moves in the pocket, and he finds Shaquai Carter, makes it to the Wagner 26. And the Colonials get their first big offensive play of the day near the red zone here.
Definitely one of Zach Tanner's better days, and great to see him doing it downfield as well. A great pass to find Carter.
Speaking of Zach Tanner, Colonials in the red zone. He moves out of the pocket. He finds Chaz Middleton. Colonials are on the board. 7-7, tie game here.
It's a battle of philosophies, Brett. Like we said, Wagner, they're running the whole game. RMU passing the whole game. 14 passing first downs out of their 18.
Casey, I think you got a crystal ball or something, man, because Andre Hines Jr. finds the end zone for the Wagner Seahawks. 135 rushing yards on the day from him. Wagner just running the ball down Robert Morris's throat here.
Yeah, Wagner, all their touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, and they end up having 15 rushing first downs, only 1 passing.
Huge pass here, Zach Tanner to Jaquai Carter. Just these two were connecting all day. 141 receiving yards on the day, most of the season, his season high for Jaquai Carter.
Yeah, great seeing more guys getting the ball in the Colonials offense.
And we're going to continue with a passing game here. Thomas Lee, not known for throwing the ball here, but he completes a beauty to Ethan Shine, putting the Colonials in the red zone. Now moving on here, Zach Tanner, same drive, finds Jaquai Carter for a touchdown. He has been all over the ball today. 17-17 here.
Brett, it is such a tight game down to the wire. These teams, they played a 1-score game last season. That's what it's looking like today.
Absolutely. Now, new QB here for Wagner. Demin Mazil, a 75-yard touchdown run here, steps in, making his presence known immediately for Wagner. And that's the dagger here for the Colonials as they just could not pick it up after this.
Hits the Cristiano Ronaldo Sue. I thought we moved on from soccer.
He hits the Suey. And then we got a new quarterback here for RMU as well, Cooper Panchak. Going forward on 4th down to Kai Holloway. It is broken up by Darren Omigi of the Wagner Seahawks. Colonials could not get this one down, 24-20 in favor of the Seahawks.
Yeah, tough loss, especially with a team you beat by 1 score last season, seeing it flip, and especially when Wagner, again, looks the Colonials dead in the face. Colonials know their game plan. They're going to run the ball, and they just couldn't stop them. But, Brett, a part of this loss, you could say, and I know the Colonials team, they don't want to make excuses, but there ended up being a bit of a carousel, some chaos
100%.
at quarterback, especially in the 4th quarter for the Colonials. Let's just take a look because it ended up being 5 different guys under center for the Colonials in this game. Tanner started. He played 3 quarters, but then ended up getting a hand injury. And Tanner was great, was leading the Colonials seemingly to maybe a win. Then Jake Wolf comes in, plays a couple snaps. Then he gets an upper body injury in a rushing attempt. Now they go to QB3 Pantek. He only plays 2 snaps, but leads them on a big drive, but he took a hit himself. And so just a tough game, for the Colonials at quarterback with 3 quarterback injuries. I mean, You saw Thomas Lee actually had that great completion
He did.
as a wide receiver even getting the ball. But, yeah, whenever you have 4 different guys that have to play quarterback in a game, never mind the 5th being a trick play, it's just a tough one, especially in a close game in the 4th quarter.
This has kind of been the story of this whole season, Casey. It's almost like we don't really know to expect who's starting each week for the Colonials. Whenever you have such a carousel as we've been talking about, whenever you have such a rotating carousel, it's hard to develop a full game plan, and that's why this team is 3-7 to start the year or into this season.
Yeah, tough loss right there. But when we come back, we're going to see actually a few more victories, Brett, because basketball is back and underway, of course, and they are flying. You'll see up next on Colonial Sports Center.
The death of George Floyd, who died in police custody Monday night.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation. It's going to take more than just us, as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to help us make a change because it just can't be us.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. Brett, like I said before the break, Hoop Township must be over the moon with some of the results to start off this season. So, Brett, tip us off with some of the games this week.
Casey, I am so excited. Basketball is officially back. Kicking things off here with the women's basketball team had their home opener against Akron this past Friday night, coming off a huge win against UIC. Let's see if the Lady Colonials could keep their win streak going. And they did. 70-61 victory over Akron. The Colonials were firing on all cylinders. They shot 43% from the floor today. Aislinn Malcolm, big story, new transfer from the Colonials. A huge game against UIC, continues it going with 20 points here. So a lot of good stuff to see if you're a Colonials fan.
Yeah, Brett, Aislinn Malcolm from Pitt, she has been fantastic, averaging 23 points a game right now. Another 20-point game right there. She has been great. This women's basketball team has been great, and they'll look to continue to be great as they can start a little bit of a city series coming up, which we'll get to a little bit later. But let's switch on over to the men's team. They went against the Geneva Golden Tornadoes, and they won big time in their home opener. Men's basketball, they were coming off of a big win against Drake, and they continued that hot streak. Josh Hill had his best game as Colonial, 16 points. Vargas had a great game at the point guard position. Cam Wilds was great as well. But, Brett, got to mention Chitty Kudus, or Chitty Bang Bang, as I like to call him. He's averaging 14.3 points per game and 8 rebounds through 3 games. He's their top scorer and top rebounder, and his rebounding comes up big in this game. RMU outscored Geneva 56-10 in the paint, and when you're dealing with schools of these different sizes, it showed right there.
Not only offensive side of the ball, 56-10 in the paint is huge. Getting those rebounds, fantastic. But also on the defensive side of the ball, this is the best defensive effort RMU has had since December of 2023. Only let up 47 points. Full complete game here for the Colonials. It's been amazing. 2
big games, 2 big wins for the Colonials. But Brett, we've got someone coming in to talk about them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's time to send it over to our resident ball knower, Caden Hyde. And Caden, I'm reading in my notes here. You're seeing us from Whitefish Bay in Wisconsin. How was the sightseeing there?
Yeah, it's been pretty fantastic. I've actually been on a bit of a morning trip recently, as back on Monday was the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the pride of the American side, the Edmund Fitzgerald. And I've just been, up here, Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. They would have been 15 miles away, but enough with the sunshine, enough with all the bad stuff. Let's talk about some good Bobby Moe basketball.
Speaking of Bobby Moe basketball, speaking of good things about Bobby Moe basketball, the Andy Toole-led men's basketball team is 2-1 to start the season. What are your biggest takeaways from the hot start from the Colonials?
Yeah, so like you said, the Colonials, they're 2-1 so far with wins over Drake and Geneva and the lone loss to Iowa. Now, no one really expected the Colonials to win against Iowa. The spread was at 22.5 points, which was covered by RMU. However, they did get the massive win against Drake. That can't be said that most of Drake's team has been brand new, since most of them actually transferred to Iowa, funnily enough. But the big story is the win against Geneva, the home opener, winning by 46 points on home court for the first time this season. It's a great feeling. Even if you are playing a D3 school, you play the team that is in front of you. And Brett, like you said earlier, it's the best defensive effort that Colonials have had since 2023. So far, these Colonials have been picking up right where they left off back at the end of last year. A big reason for this has been their rebounding. Last year, the tallest player on the team was Alvaro Fulgaris at 6'9". Now this year, they have 3 players at that height or taller. They have out-rebounded Drake and Geneva by at least 12, while also only being out-rebounded by Iowa by 1, coming up 25-26 against rebounds. The team looks much quicker, a lot more athletic, getting out on the fast break, especially with Cam Wilds and Darius Livingston, really getting down there off of steals, deflections, and things like that. The only concern that I have right now for the Colonials is their half-court offense. The team, the way they play their half-court offense is a bit like getting the ball to the top of the point, right at the beginning of the three-point line, and then handing it off. Part of that kind of makes it a bit more of an issue to get that spacing around, and they still need to find that one true ball handler, which we could have in Albert Vargas. But if things aren't broke, don't fix them. And right now, they're working like a charm.
100%, a great start for the men's team, but as well as the women's team. They've hopped out to a 2-0 record to start the season. What's impressed you with Coach McCabe and company?
Yeah, Coach McCabe is continuing the turnaround of this women's basketball program with a win over the University of Illinois Chicago and Akron, averaging 74 points in those two contests. And I like to point that out because last year, with the team being as good as they were, being 10-10 in conference and ended up as the 4th seed in the Horizon League playoffs, they only eclipsed 74 points twice on the entire season, and only hitting that 74 mark once, and that coming in that over being against Detroit Mercy. They have been fantastic at forcing turnovers with 11 in the first 2 matchups. And much like the men's team, they've been incredible at securing rebounds in the paint. And the motion of the offense has looked incredible from all of the new additions in the lineup, being able to pass the ball around, getting it inside and getting it outside. However, much like with the men's team, there are some things that can be worked on. The team, you can really tell on the defensive side, are missing all of the seniors who graduated, especially Maya Murray and Danny Vuletic on the inside, as the Colonials have given up some big scoring numbers to these larger forwards from UIC and from Akron, giving up 28 points to Jessica Carruthers from UIC and then 22 from Naira Clark and Akron. Everything else has been coming right into place, but the only thing that might be stopping this team from being good to great is that interior defense, Brett.
Yeah, well, so it's like we've been talking about a lot, definitely missing some players. Both these teams have pretty much hit the hard reset button, except for their coaches and a few returning players. So, new team, new players. Who should we be watching out for this season, do you think?
Yeah, well, I have 2 players I want to touch on, one from each of the teams, and both of them new transfers this season. I want to start off with the big 6'9" forward out of East Thessaloniki, Greece, that being Nikolos Chidikoudis. He has been absolutely phenomenal. He's averaging 14 points and 8 rebounds in the 3 matchups so far, being an excellent force down low on the block and as a pick and roll threat from the high elbow. He's been a defensive force as well, really able to clog passing lanes, averaging a steal in a game and just under a block, but the box score only says so much. So much of a defender's work is contesting shots, getting a hand up, getting in the way of passing lanes, and a bunch of those things that don't have a statistical number, but might be just as, if not more important than getting those steals and blocks. He moves incredibly well for a guy of his size. He is an absolute demon in the pick and roll and on the chase down. He might be underutilized right now as that quarterback at the top of the point, much like an offensive defenseman in hockey, but the system, like I said, has yet to fail, and it's going to continue. So moving on to my second player, which being the transfer local kid from Pitt, Aislinn Malcolm, who has been absolutely fantastic. It's something that the Colonials have desperately needed, is that go-to scorer, and she has been absolutely phenomenal, averaging 23 points on 47% from the field and 35 from 3. I want to point out those numbers are phenomenal for an NBA player, let alone a college basketball player. She's been incredible on her new team. She's not entirely lost on the defensive side, averaging over a block a game from the forward position, and she plays the pass lanes well. However, she does need to work a little bit better on her playmaking for having the ball in her hands so much, being able to find Noah Gavon open on the wing or Bailey Coons down low. So this team, with all that coming together, as well as the incredible perimeter defense from Jenica Suggs this season, we might have not only a much improved team in the Horizon League, but with Malcolm, maybe a potential player of the year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Caden. Hopefully we'll be seeing you more here very soon with some more good news about the basketball teams.
Of course, thank you guys so much for having me, and go Colonials.
Well, Brett, a great talk with Caden, but of course it's getting colder, and so the ice is still sticking around, of course. So when we come back here on Colonial Sports Center, we're taking you right down to the rink. You don't want to miss it. Up next, see you after this.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. cough?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. Brett, we've been skating around this the whole show. You think it's cold, it's time for hockey. You think it's earlier, but no. We've been saving it for later. Right now, let's get into some hockey, Brett.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get right into it here. Heading over to Clearview Arena, the men's hockey team took on LIU this past weekend, riding a series sweep against Niagara in conference play. Let's see if the Colonials could keep their winning ways going. And unfortunately, the sweep would come back to bite them this time. In game one, RMU actually outshot LIU 30-27, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter when it comes to all at the end of the day that matters on the scoreboard is the amount of goals, and obviously they lost this one 6-3. Klimke had an assist, his 5th point of the season, and 9 players ended up having 1 point in this game, as well as 4 Colonials actually had 3 points. Goals from Dominic Elliott, Patrick Johnson, Cameron Garvey, but at the end of the day, they could not get this one done. In game 2 was an absolute defensive battle, not going in the way of the Colonials. This time, another one where the Colonials outshot LIU 31-30. RMU also won the face-off battle, but 2 rough games here for the Colonials. Couldn't get it done. And such a big game for Schooley, which Casey you're going to touch on, couldn't get it done.
Yeah, couldn't get it done, but it was a big milestone for Coach Derek Schooley of the men's hockey team. His 700th career game coaching the Colonials. He's been around since the start of this program. He was hired in August of 2003. He's been the Colonials coach longer than me and you have been alive. 2-time Coach of the Year, 2 times regular season champion, 1-time tournament champion. He's been a great guy to have around for the entire history of the Colonials program, hitting a big milestone. So, Brett, let's hear a little bit from Coach Derek Schooley.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did a better job 4-on-4 tonight. We did a good job with that. We did we had chances. It wasn't from lack of scoring chances. I think we generated, and we just didn't score. And sometimes you have to tip your cap to the other team and say you didn't get the job done. So, but at the end of the day, they scored more than we did, and they capitalized on their power plays. They were 1 for 2 or 1 for 3 on their power plays. I mean, they had 7 minutes of power plays. We had 8, and we didn't get the job done. Great alumni here. We've been blessed with some really good assistant coaches over the years, and Matt Nicholson was here a long time. I had Ryan DeRocher here, 2 different tours of duty, and then now Ryan Crothers was here as a player, as a coach. Joe Tusit was a player as a coach here. I mean, Logan Biddle's been here as a player and now a women's coach. So I've been blessed with a lot of people around here. So thanks to everybody who I got a couple texts from people like Wayne Wilson from RIT. Says congrats on 700. Means you're just really old. So I guess that makes me old.
700 games for Coach Schooley and 21 seasons as well. Big milestone there despite the 2 losses.
Yeah, unfortunate one for the Colonials. He's been with them through thick and thin. But let's move over to the women's hockey team as they took on conference opponent, the Mercyhurst Lakers, this past weekend. Looking to bounce back after dropping 2 against Penn State. Let's see if the Colonials could bounce back here, pick up a win. Unfortunately, another sweep, dropping 4 in a row of the Colonials. First game, game 1 Friday, dropped this one 5-1. Mercyhurst outshot RMU 36-24. RMU could not capitalize on their only power play chance, so Mercyhurst staying out of the box here. Maggie Hatch, 31 saves in this game, so she was standing on her head. Unfortunately, the Colonials could not back her up with some offense. But moving on to game 2, RMU actually ended up outshooting the Lakers in this one, 38-34. But Mercyhurst, 3 for 5 on the power play is the huge killer here. They ended up going up 6-1 early in the second period, which led to freshman goalie Yi Ping making her college debut second period after that 6th goal. She had 19 saves on the day, but at the end of the day, 7-2 loss. 2 rough games for the Colonials here.
Yeah, both Colonial teams just really getting peppered on defense.
100%. It's been a
And
rough
so
one here.
two tough series losses. But, Brett, we talked about peppers. You know what peppers are?
What?
They're spicy. They're hot. You know what else is spicy and hot and delicious?
I'm thinking here.
Top five plays.
plays.
Brett, it's coming up next, so stick around here on Colonial Sports Center.
Let's see. Women's basketball.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. Brett, we've got our top five plays. Let's get right into this one. Number 5, choo-choo. I can hear it coming, the big train, the big-time train. Chitty Kudas is going to get the two-hand slam right here for our number 5 play. He's been so good and finishes right at the rim for the Colonials.
We've been talking about this all day. Offense to defense, just converting here for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I love that nickname, by the way. Staying in the Harbor, moving over to the women's basketball team. End of the third quarter here, RMU up by a little bit, and a huge block by Jenica Suggs. And in the third quarter here, she says against Akron, and just nothing there. Jenica Suggs, great player for this team off the bench to start this season. She's just been an absolute workhorse for them.
Yeah, of course, Brett. Now on to our number 3 play. We go over to men's soccer. It's late in the game. It's 1-1 in the quarterfinals. And right there, Riley gets tripped up. He wins the penalty, and the Colonials know what that means. It's time to win it. Anasa Drawn, the top scorer of the season, steps up, slots it away, bottom corner, and the Colonials get a last-minute win right here. Anasa Drawn, 2 goals in that game for our number 3 play.
Moving on here to number 2, staying with the women's basketball team, Noah Gavone, has it at the top of the circle. Moving into the paint, sends it up to Jada Lee and Asleen Malcolm. Cha-ching! First one goes in. Here again, Colonials on the offense again. Another one, cha-ching, in the paint. Now, she's going to go for 3 here. Holding it up high, controlling her offense. How's that? Steps back. I'm going to say it one more time. Cha-ching!
I was waiting for the cha-ching to come in. It didn't come in. Where's my money? Give me my money. Now number 1, Anasa Drawn says, give me my goal, bottom. And oh my goodness, far corner. What a goal, and he knows it. Again, 2 goals in this game. He was unbelievable. Give him his goal. Give him his number 1 play on the week. Anasa Drawn, what a finish right there.
Well, Casey, they may not be giving us our money, but the Colonials have been feeding us this year. They've been feeding us this year. It's been so much fun to watch these teams. Great fall so far this season as we head into the winter sports here.
Yeah, you talked about, Brett, though, giving Aislinn Malcolm her money, all right? I want to talk real quick about their game coming up. They're playing Little City Series, but I want to highlight Duquesne just real quick. They're playing against Duquesne. Aislinn Malcolm has been so good, averaging 23 points a game. That's going to be a huge game. Both teams undefeated coming into that one. Watch out for that one. Tuesday at home for the Colonials.
Absolutely. And sticking home here, actually tomorrow night, the men's team is staying at home against Pitt Greensburg for a huge matchup, their second game of the season. That one's going to be fun. If you're around, head to UPMC Event Center tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. That'll be a fun one to go to.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real fun one, Brett. Here, just for
Ooh.
here. You know what? I'll give you some money. $2 because we only got 2 cha-chings. I would have given you $3, but we didn't get that third cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Does that count?
You know what?
Yeah.
There you go, man. That's all we got on Colonial Sports Center. We hope you get your money up this week. Thanks for watching us again. We'll see you all again next week.